fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela Effected. I'm Darkwolf, and this is Darkwolfsdenyt. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up today. I do apologize that it's taken so long to get another video out. I've been waiting on somebody to get back to me with one of their theories that they're pounding out. It's going to be a minute until they get this done, so I wanted to make number 10 a special video, so I've decided to do this in a different way than normal. I hope everybody enjoys it. If you do, let me know. If you don't, please also let me know. I'm working on different things right now, different ways to make the channel better and make the videos better. So with that said, let's get started. This is the Mandela Effect Theory series. This is M.E.T.S number 10. Could a time traveler have caused the Mandela Effect? So first, let's look at the theory itself. The time traveler theory states that A, someone has gone back in time, probably using CERN in tandem with D-Wave computer, although this is complete speculation concerning the means of actual travel. But perhaps they're influencing certain events in the past, thereby creating the Mandela Effect. Or, an alternate to this theory, is that the time traveler themselves aren't causing any changes, just the fact that they are time traveling at all may be messing up the stability of reality itself. So, before we go any further, when I first found the Mandela Effect, I originally noticed that, like the Berenstain Bears, for instance, I always use that because it's such a great example, had been changed retroactively, which means it's not only changed now, but it's changed all the way through the past also. So the only thing I could come up with, and most people jump to the regular conclusion that it's a time traveler, which is a standard conclusion to jump to, but there's a little problem. See, in my opinion, well, we'll get into that. Let's start with the rules. Rules of time travel. The past affects the future. Now, I know somebody's looking at this going, wait, Darkwolf, we know that. Duh. Well, hold on. Let me explain what I mean. So let's go with the grandfather paradox. This states if I go back in time and I kill my grandfather, that I won't be born. Or I wouldn't be born to go back in time and kill my grandfather to begin with. So let's change this up a little bit. Let's say I go back in time and I shoot your grandfather, and you're never born. Well, now I've altered history because one of your children could have been president, or the inventor that changed the entire world. So everything you do in the past affects the future. It is cause and effect, as far as we know. Because right now things appear to be linear or in a straight line. But science is questioning that every day. Moves us on to number 2. When a change is made in the past, it will only be known as different to the actual time traveler. Now, this is the reason that I had a problem with the time travel theory to begin with. For instance, if I go back and I kill baby Hitler. I know there's a lot of killing talked about in this video today. I apologize. But if I go back and I kill baby Hitler, nobody will know the word Hitler or the name Hitler as far as rising to power in World War II. Not to say another person wouldn't do that he did, but it wouldn't be Hitler. The only one who would know Hitler did that would be me as the time traveler. When I get back to the future, everybody will know that Johnson did that, and nobody will know the name Hitler, for instance. So, if I go back and I changed Berenstain Bears to Berenstain, back when it was very first created, nobody would have known it as Berenstain to know that it was changed to begin with. So, that is one of my issues with the time travel theory. However, there is ways that we can get around that, and it still could very much be a time traveler. So, let's continue. One change causes many other things to change as a side effect. Rule number 3. Now, this is also known as the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is the concept that small causes can have large effects. Initially, it was used with weather prediction, but later the term became a metaphor used in and out of science. So the idea is that somewhere in Africa, a butterfly flaps its wings. And this one flap sets off a chain of events, leading all the way up to something as big as which direction a tornado decides to turn. So, very, very small things can lead up in a chain of events and do cause and effect to very, very much larger things. You could look at this as saying you decide to go out to eat one day as a single person, and you run into what will be your future wife and the love of your entire life. I know that it has not happened to me, but it's a great example. One small action set off a chain of events that led to a completely different line. Uh, like it says in the bottom right corner here, change one thing can change everything. Now that we understand the concept, let's look at some possibilities of people who really may have traveled in time. First, we have the Philadelphia experiment. This was an experiment that happened in the 1940s. The USS Eldridge was the name of a marine ship, military marine ship, that was in the middle of an experiment in an attempt to make complete invisibility. Instead of going invisible, however, the ship did disappear, and it said that it was moved through time and landed in a port 100 miles away just moments later. And there's even stories that it traveled to something like 2037 and all kind of insane rumored stories that have happened. I can't find any definitive documentation on this, so this is the lore behind it. If you haven't looked into the Philadelphia experiment, please do. There's also a movie made about it. These are both screen caps from the movie. It was supposed to be based on the actual event. On the left is the USS Eldridge, covered in electricity. And on the right is pictures that, apparently, according to the story, when it shifted out or phased out of time, some of the soldiers or seamen ended up getting stuck in the hull of the ship, literally binded to the metal of the ship. And many perished and lost their lives, according to the story. So there's one possibility of a military experiment that dealt with time travel. That's not the only military experiment that's been known to deal with time travel. It just happens to be the most famous. The Philadelphia experiment was the name also used to the first project of the nuclear bombs being dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So there is a bit of a mix-up when it comes to this, because I believe they used the name twice in order to quell the conspiracy theorists out. But I'm rambling again. Anyway, the Philadelphia experiment was where they tried to take a ship, send it into an invisible state, and accidentally ended up sending it through time and space itself, which very well may have broken some of the fabric of time and space. That was way back in the 40s, so I personally doubt it could be what led up to what's happening today, even though it's not out of the realm of idea. So, what about other time travelers then? Well, I chose the top 5 that I've found online that's most famous. If you haven't heard of any of these, please definitely Google or YouTube them. There's a lot of information on every one of the ones that I'm about to tell you about. Especially our first character, John Teeter. John Teeter showed up in an online bulletin board in around 2000 to 2001. And he claimed to come back from the future to the past, to the 1980s first, and was trying to retrieve an original IBM computer. Because apparently there's some processing capabilities that it was special made for that was needed in the future, because there was a whole bunch of issues which we'll get to, his prediction being a time traveler and if they true or not. And also he made a lot of predictions that are yet to come true. So here's the Wikipedia on John Teeter. Name used on several bulletin boards between 2000 and 2001 by a poster claiming to be a military time traveler from 2036. In these posts, Teeter made numerous predictions about future events, some vague and some quite specific, starting with events in 2004. He described a drastically changed future in which the United States had broken up into 5 smaller regions. The environment and infrastructure had been devastated by a nuclear attack, and most other world powers had been destroyed. Before the time frame of his predicted events came and went, Teeter's story invoked curiosity and received attention from around the world. However, all the events, including an American Civil War that he had predicted from 2004 to around 2010, never happened. So we believe, generally speaking, in the conspiracy community, that this was nothing more than a large hoax perpetrated by a bunch of people, done to get the attention of late night radio host Art Bell, who still to this day is very obsessed with time travel And I don't blame him because honestly, it's one of my favorite concepts too. If you've seen any other of my videos, like the Back to the Future 3 Mandalism video, you'll know time travel is one of my obsessions, if you will. But wait, there's more. So there's also the story of the man from Taured. Now this is a really, really neat story. The man from Taured showed up in Japan with an odd passport one day. It was the day like any other day. He was a business traveler, and when he got to customs to stamp his passport, they noticed that he was from a country that nobody else had ever heard of before. He claimed to be from a country of Taured between France and Spain. Turns out that country does not exist. However, there's a country named Andorra there. And I gotta say on a side note, when I first seen the word Andorra, I thought it had one R, but when I typed it in here, it made me put two R's. So I don't know if anybody else remembers it with one R. Let me know. I'm not saying it's vandalism. I'm just saying I don't remember that way, but I didn't exactly study this country either. So just putting that out. After he they noticed that he didn't belong and argued with the people for a little while that his country did exist and was very distraught when he found Andorra on the map and not his country. He was taken to a hotel and put up with guards outside the room, and all his possessions were confiscated. However, the next morning, both he and his belongings had vanished from police custody, and to this day, nobody knows what happened to the man from Taured. But it's really strange that he was very convinced he was from this country that does not exist, and his passport even had multiple stamps where he had been to Japan before as a business traveler. So that was a really, really intriguing story that cannot be proven or disproven. It may very well be a time traveler, if not an interdimensional time traveler, which we will get to. So there's two of them. The time traveling hipster. This is one of the most famous ones on YouTube. This one in the red circle right here, you notice is wearing a lot of clothing that don't fit the style around him. Though apparently, upon doing some research, you'll find that the clothing all very well could have been plausible in this time frame. However, the camera that it appears to be holding in his hand looks a little newer than it should. I'm not saying it is or is not. I'm saying this is an example that is very popular and it's been given on YouTube. So if you want to do some more research into it, please always use your own discernment. Do not take everything I say for gospel. I try to get all the facts, but I'm human and even I make mistakes. So with that said, please always use your own discernment. That's the time traveling hipster. Then we have Andrew Basiago. Now, Andrew Basiago claimed to have worked under one of these military programs called the Montauk Jump Room. And I'm assuming this is the name of the technology itself. I doubt it's a room that literally jumps. But who knows, knowing the military. This is a picture taken from the Gettysburg Address, supposedly. And the young man in the foreground here in the middle of the picture is supposed to be Andrew Basiago, at least according to his claim, who was sent back in time in order to view this very event of Abraham Lincoln. This is a claim made by Andrew Basiago. I don't know if it's true. I don't know it's not. I'm saying, again, I found this to be one of the main time travel stories online. Again, use your own discernment. Please check it out. Then we have our honorable mentions. Now, these are ones that really make you wonder about things. Like the top left corner. You notice the guy sitting on the rock. He's circled in red, of course. All of them are. Well, funny thing about that, look at his clothing. His clothing, again, doesn't seem to match the style of everyone around him. And the people around him tend to be looking at him like they're just as confused as he is to be there. It could he have just popped in all of a sudden and appeared on that rock and everybody just as surprised as he was at the same time the picture was taken? I don't know. I'm just suggesting a scenario. Below that, we have a picture from a Charlie Chaplin movie. And this is real intriguing. Some people say it could be a headset or like an earphone. But there's nobody else talking to her, though she's talking into it and laughing. So it makes you wonder exactly what is going on. If you look through the pictures, it shows her on it, on whatever the device may be. Then it shows her much more close up on that same device. And it shows her holding the device in her hand, which it does look intriguingly like a phone, but I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that's my opinion. And then on the other side here, we have Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's in the middle of a fight in the 80s, maybe the 90s. Early 90s, if it is. And behind him, a guy in the audience has what appears to be maybe an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone. We didn't have smartphones in the 90s, folks. We didn't have smartphones until the 2000s, maybe even 2010s. I can't remember. I didn't look up exactly when. But I guarantee you, with the time frame in which this was recorded, those devices right there did not exist. So those are some honorable mentions I found that I couldn't exactly say were time travelers, but there are evidences to suggest they are. So that's 5 stories of time travelers that could or could not have ripped the fabric of time. I'm not saying they're all true or any of them are true. I'm saying use your own discernment once again. But these are 5 examples that could have proven somebody could have plausibly gone back in time and changed something. Now, before I continue, let's consider a concept. If it is a time traveler, perhaps they're not going back and changing the A in Berenstein, and then going forward and changing the Volvo logo, and then going backwards and changing something else. I suggest that perhaps they made one change. I perhaps suggest that a time traveler went back and changed one very insignificant detail of something. And from there, the cause and effect played out to where we have much, much larger changes that occurred. Again, the butterfly effect playing out. I'm not sure that's what it is, but it is a very plausible theory. Let me know what you think in the comments, please. This leads us to what will be our next theory. It kind of ties into this. It's called the sliders theory. I won't get into what that actually is, but there is an idea in physics that discounts the idea of paradoxes. See, I can't go back and kill my grandfather because I wouldn't be here to go back and kill my grandfather. However, when I time traveled, if I actually went to a parallel dimension or a parallel timeline, anything I do over there is not going to affect anything over here. So I could kill my grandfather 100 different times in 100 different timelines, and this one would remain completely active and stable and solid. That's the theory. So could it be that a time traveler from another parallel dimension or parallel timeline snuck his way over here to this one, not realizing it, and is making changes on what he thinks is his own timeline, and it turns out to be ours? I still don't see how this is possible because, like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, a time traveler is the only one that will be aware of any change made when they return to their own time. So any change made in the past will be locked in from that point in the past forward. So I don't think we would know if a time traveler went back in the past and changed anything because it would be changed from there on. And we would have known it was different to begin with. Now, that said, maybe I'm wrong on that. That is only my logical assumption. I don't have anything to back me up except for simple logic, which isn't always correct. Thus, we have words like counterintuitive, because it very well could be. I don't know. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed this new style that I've went with. Please let me know if you want me to continue this, or if you want to go back to just me talking to you directly in the camera, or if you have any other ideas for things I could do. What do you think, guys? Could it be a time traveler that caused the Mandela Effect? Plausible, I think. I don't know if it actually is the reason, but it is a very plausible idea that I'm not going to discount. A lot of people think it is. A lot of people think it ain't. It's up to you to decide. Please like and subscribe if you have liked this video or any of the videos that I do. I try to come out with new theories quite often. Like I said before, I do have many that are in the wings and that are waiting. I've been waiting to do them because I'm waiting on somebody else to get back to me with one of their theories. I think you guys are going to enjoy that one when they get it finalized, because when I looked over it, I was very impressed myself. I'm not going to tease too much about it, but look forward to that and many, many more coming out on the channel. I'm not going to do videos daily. I don't have enough time in my world to do videos daily. That said, I am going to try to do them at least once a week. So stick with me, guys. I'm going to work on getting time to keep these coming up for you guys. I hope you enjoy them. If you find a theory that resonates with you, like it, let me know, thumbs up, whatever you'd like to do. Maybe you can build on ideas that I've had. That's one of the reasons I put all these videos out, is so people can build on my ideas, or ideas that are presented by the entire community. This is not just me coming up with things. And hopefully, maybe in the end, we can come up with a final solution to figure out exactly what's causing this. In the meantime, it's extremely fun going over the possibilities of what could be. So I'm Darkwolf. This is Darkwolf's Den. And remember always, stay awake, but dare to dream. Thanks, everybody.